every morning you hear them before you see them. The blackbird in the maple tree, the blue tit somewhere near the fence, the robins moving through the yard in that low rolling chatter that fills the space between sunrise and the first coffee. You have heard these sounds so many times they have become part of the silence. Background, familiar, invisible, but they are not background. They are not random. What is happening in your garden every morning is something researchers have spent decades trying to fully decode. And what they have found changes the way you understand every bird that has ever visited your yard. Those sounds are language, not metaphorically, not in the loose sense we sometimes use when we say animals communicate, language with structure, with grammar, with specific meaning that other birds understand instantly and act on within seconds. The calls your birds make follow rules. They have syntax. A bird does not randomly assemble sounds. It produces sequences that carry specific, predictable meaning to every bird in earshot. Researchers who have spent their careers studying this are careful about the word language because it carries implications they want to be precise about. But they are equally careful to say that what birds do with sound goes far beyond what most people imagine when they look out the kitchen window. And part of what they are saying right now in your garden is about you. If you have ever stepped outside and wondered why the garden sometimes falls completely silent, or why on other days the birds simply keep singing as you walk past, then stay with me until the end. Because the last thing I am going to tell you is about a specific sound. A sound so quiet you might have heard it without realizing what it was. A sound that proves, beyond any doubt, exactly what the robin in your garden thinks of you. Stay until the end. That is the part you need to hear. To understand what is happening when you open your back door, you first have to understand how a garden actually operates. A garden is not a collection of individual birds living separate lives. It is a shared network. It is a community with a shared early warning system, and that infrastructure runs on sound all day, every day. Birds are not just listening to their own kind. They are actively listening to every species around them. They extract information. They update their understanding of what is safe and what is not. Researchers call this heterospecific eavesdropping. It is the deliberate monitoring of other species to survive. And in the British garden, there is one voice that matters more than almost any other. The robin. The European robin holds a unique position in the acoustic landscape of your garden. It is usually the first bird to start singing in the pre-dawn dark, and the last to stop singing as evening falls. It holds territory year-round, unlike most other garden birds. But more importantly, it occupies the middle ground. It hunts on the lawn, it perches on the fence post, it moves through the low shrubs. It is constantly watching the ground for food, which means it is constantly watching the ground for predators. Other birds know this. The blue tits high in the canopy, the wood pigeons in the tall trees, the blackbirds turning leaves under the hedge. They all know the robin is the sentinel of the lower garden. When the robin speaks, the garden listens. And the robin has a very specific vocabulary for danger. If a stray cat enters the garden, or if a sparrowhawk sweeps low over the fence, or if a stranger walks through the side gate, the robin issues an alarm call. It is a sharp, rapid, ticking sound. Tick, tick, tick. It sounds like two pebbles being struck together quickly. It is harsh. It is urgent. It cuts through the background noise of the garden like a siren. That ticking sound is a broadcast. It is not just an expression of fear. It is targeted information. When the robin issues that sharp alarm call, the entire garden reacts within a fraction of a second. The blue tits freeze. The blackbird stops turning leaves and raises its head. The whole ecosystem goes on high alert. The robin has announced that a ground predator is present, moving, and dangerous. Now, think about what happens when you walk out your back door. You are a large, moving, unpredictable creature. By every biological metric, you should trigger the alarm call every single time. When a stranger walks into your garden, a delivery driver, a neighbor, someone the robin has never seen before, the robin will often issue that ticking alarm. It will retreat to the hedge. It will broadcast to the garden that an unknown giant is moving through the territory. But what happens when you step outside? If you are the person who turns the soil, if you are the person who fills the bird bath, if you are the person who has been quietly walking down that same garden path morning after morning, Season after season, you step outside, the back door closes behind you, and the robin looks at you. And it does not tick. It does not sound the alarm. It might look at you, assess you for a brief moment, and then go back to hunting on the lawn. It might even hop down from the fence post and move closer to your boots. Most people experience this and think, "Oh, good, the robin recognizes me." But the science of acoustic networks tells us that something much more profound is happening. Silence is not the absence of communication. In a highly vigilant acoustic network, silence is an active choice. By looking at you and choosing not to issue the alarm call, the robin is communicating with the entire garden. It is telling the blackbird under the hedge that there is no need to panic. It is telling the blue tits in the canopy that they can keep foraging. The robin has assessed you, matched you against the file it keeps in its memory, and concluded that you are safe. And by not sounding the alarm, it has broadcast that verdict to every other bird in earshot. You are not just a gardener walking across the lawn. You are a giant creature that has been vouchsafed by the sentinel of the garden. The blackbird does not fly away when you walk past, not necessarily because the blackbird trusts you, but because the robin has signaled that you are acceptable. Your yard has a reputation, and you have a reputation within it. The birds have compared notes in their way, through alarm calls that carry your threat level, through settled contact calls that signal this place is safe, through the profound absence of panic when you step outside in the morning. Most people walk through their gardens without knowing any of this is happening, without knowing that the robin on the fence post has already broadcast its assessment of them to every bird within 100 feet. But you know now. And the next time you step outside, and the garden stays alive around you instead of going still, you will know what that means. It means the conversation has already happened, and you passed. This alone would be enough to change how you look at the bird on your fence. But there is another sound. It is a sound so rare and so quiet that most people never hear it, even if they have gardened alongside robins for decades. We are used to the robin singing loudly from a high branch to claim its territory. We are used to the sharp ticking alarm call. But sometimes, when a robin has known you for a very long time, when it follows you closely around the garden, when you are sitting on the bench or standing quietly with a cup of tea, it will make a different sound entirely. It is called the subsong. It is not a broadcast. It is not meant to carry across the neighborhood. It is not meant to warn anyone or attract anyone. It is a whisper. If you are lucky enough to be close when it happens, you will see the robin sitting very still. Its feathers will be slightly fluffed, indicating that it is warm and completely relaxed. Its beak will barely open. In fact, sometimes the beak remains closed, and you only see the throat vibrating. The sound that comes out is a continuous, quiet, complex melody. It sounds like a robin singing to itself in a dream. It is a private, inward sound, a quiet murmuring of trills and low notes, completely lacking the sharp, piercing volume of its public song. Ornithologists know that the subsong is often used by young birds practicing their vocalizations, but adult robins also use it, and they only ever use it in one specific circumstance: when they feel absolutely, completely safe. A bird cannot afford to sing the subsong if it is worried about a sparrowhawk. It cannot afford to drop its volume and close its eyes if there is a cat nearby. The subsong requires a level of relaxation that is incredibly rare in the wild. When an adult robin sits 2 feet away from you, on the handle of your spade or the arm of your garden chair, and begins to sing the subsong, you are witnessing the highest compliment a wild creature can pay you. It is not just that the robin is not afraid of you. It is that the robin feels so safe in your immediate presence that it can let down every single defensive barrier it has. It can stop listening for predators. It can stop guarding its territory. It can stop being a sentinel. It can just sit beside you and whisper. I want you to think about what that means. In the life of a small bird, danger is constant. Every shadow, every noise, every sudden movement is a calculation of life and death. The energy required to maintain that vigilance is immense. To find a pocket of space where that vigilance can be turned off is a rare and precious thing. Your robin has decided that the space right next to you is that pocket of safety. It has decided that you are the safest place in the garden. People often ask what birds are thinking. They wonder if the robin follows them because it feels affection, or if it is just a cold biological drive for food. Science tells us that birds do not experience love or affection in the human sense. Their brains are wired for survival. Their behaviors are shaped by the brutal economics of staying alive through the winter. But science also tells us this. Trust is a biological reality. The ability to distinguish a safe individual from a dangerous one is a documented cognitive skill. When your robin chooses to sit next to you and sing the subsong, it is not experiencing human affection, but it is experiencing absolute trust. And in a wild world, governed by fear and hunger, absolute trust might be the closest thing to love that a bird can give. It is a choice, a continuous, daily choice to place its physical safety in your hands. So the next time you go out into the garden, listen. Listen beyond the obvious songs. Pay attention to the silence when you walk out the door. Notice how the other birds react, or do not react, to your presence. Understand that you are moving through a landscape of language. You are being discussed, evaluated, and vouched for. You are not just tending to the plants. You are maintaining a reputation in a network older and more complex than you ever realized. And if you ever find yourself sitting quietly, and the robin lands nearby, fluffs its feathers, and begins to whisper a song that you can barely hear, do not move. Do not try to take a picture. Do not try to call anyone over to look. Just sit there and listen. You have spent years turning the soil, leaving out food, keeping the water clean, and moving gently through the space. You have earned that whisper. It is the sound of a wild creature that has resolved you completely. The sound of a bird that no longer has to think about you. The sound of absolute safety. Has your robin ever sat near you and sung the quiet subsong? Have you ever noticed the garden fall silent when a stranger walks in, but stay completely calm for you? Tell me about it in the comments. I want to know exactly what you heard and how close the bird was when it happened. I read every single one. These are the stories that prove exactly how much is happening in our gardens when we learn how to listen. I will see you in the next one.